United States has finally unveiled the absolute weapon. Despite being the world's most advanced nation, it's no news that the US is lagging behind China in hypersonic weapons. However, with recent development, they are now leading with the newly developed high-powered lasers. This weapon is capable of obliterating threats from China and Iran in a matter of seconds. This technological marvel, which boasts unprecedented precision and power, promises to redefine naval warfare and shift the global balance of power. How is China leading in terms of hypersonic weapons? Is this laser system enough to protect the U.S. aircraft carrier from threats that move faster than the speed of sound? Join us as we unveil the terrific capabilities of the United States Laser aircraft carrier that could destroy China and Iran in 1 second. In February 2022, a renowned defense company, Lockheed Martin, delivered its powerful Lance high-energy laser weapon to the Air Force. This laser weapon, also known as Laser Advancements for Next-Generation Compact Environments, was received by the Air Force Research Laboratory, or AFRL. The development of the laser weapon began under a November 2017 contract as part of the Air Force's larger Self-Protect High-Energy Laser Demonstrator, or SHIELD program, which has been previously discussed. SHIELD is a joint project involving Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and Northrop Grumman. Lockheed Martin supplies the laser weapon, Lance. Boeing builds the pod that houses the laser, while Northrop Grumman creates the beam control system that aims and stabilizes the laser on its target. Kent Wood, acting director of AFRL's Directed Energy Directorate, revealed to Breaking Defense that the various SHIELD subsystems represent the most compact and capable laser weapon technologies delivered to date. He stated that AFRL's testing is still in the early stages, involving mission utility analyses and wargaming studies. The results of these studies aim to help decide the specific targets for future tests and demonstrations. Additionally, Lockheed's Tyler Griffin mentioned that the next phase of the program will involve integrating Lance with a thermal system to manage heating and cooling. Currently, it is unclear which aircraft Lance will be equipped with for flight tests and airborne firing trials. However, Griffin noted that a variety of potential applications and platforms are being considered for future demonstrations and tests. Previous Lockheed Martin concept art has shown the pod carried by an F-16 fighter jet. And while SHIELD is initially concerned with proving the potential for active defense of fighter jets in high-risk environments, officials have also talked of the possibility of adapting the same technology for larger, slower-moving combat and combat support aircraft too. Boeing flew a pre-prototype pod shape without its internal subsystems aboard an Air Force F-15 fighter in 2019. During ground tests, meanwhile, a representative laser, known as the Demonstrator Laser Weapon System, has already successfully shot down multiple air-launched missiles over White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico, also in 2019. A decision on the first test aircraft for the complete SHIELD system will probably be made once funding for a flight demonstration is secured, which hasn't happened yet. There also isn't a formal plan for how Lance and SHIELD might develop into an actual program. The timeline for this work is unclear. AFRL disclosed that no decisions have been made about when airborne trials will occur. In late 2017, AFRL aimed to test a laser on a fighter jet by 2021. In 2020, Lockheed Martin planned to have a laser on tactical fighters by 2020. However, the Air Force has faced challenges with these technologies. In 2021, it announced a 2-year delay, pushing the start of flight testing for a podded laser weapon to 2023. This delay was due to technical issues and COVID-19 related work slowdowns. That same year, AFRL announced that it was expecting to receive the Boeing pod for SHIELD soon and aimed to obtain the remaining components, including Lance, by July 2021. The reason for the current delay is unclear, but AFRL has previously noted the significant technical challenges in using a directed energy laser to intercept a hostile supersonic missile. Meanwhile, despite the setback, Air Force pilots have been conducting simulated missions with podded airborne laser weapons in a virtual reality battlefield setting. This war game is part of the Air Force's larger initiative to create virtual testing environments for weapon systems development. SHIELD is primarily designed to showcase the potential of a podded laser defense system, which could eventually complement expendable countermeasures like infrared flares, chaff, or electronic warfare systems. However, laser defense systems have drawbacks, such as sensitivity to atmospheric conditions that can affect the beam's range and power, and the limitation of engaging only one target at a time. This means lasers would likely supplement, rather than replace, existing decoys and countermeasures. We've previously explored in detail what laser weapons could offer to future battlefields. Ultimately, however, a fully mature high-energy laser weapon could actually be used for a variety of roles beyond the defense of aircraft against missiles. Potentially, it could become an offensive weapon too, engaging hostile aircraft during within visual range air combat, swatting down cruise missiles, or even attacking targets on the ground. While it's not clear to what degree past issues with the underlying technology have been resolved, the delivery of Lance earlier this year is clearly a major milestone toward realizing a functional fighter-based laser weapon. Recently, it was discovered that among the arrays of weapons that have been developed, only two types of weapons can potentially destroy the world: hypersonic missiles and laser weapons. The power to deploy them rests with only two countries, China and the United States. These two superpowers have been in a prolonged rivalry, and now tensions may escalate as the U.S. reacts to China's continuous threats. China's threats, whether real or perceived, have been numerous, especially in recent years. In August 2020, the Chinese People's Liberation Army Rocket Force launched several ballistic missiles into the northern South China Sea from mainland China, simulating an anti-ship strike. This exercise was one of many seen as a warning to the U.S. As usual, the United States likely observed these launches closely, as a U.S. Air Force RC-135S Cobra Ball spy plane was in the Red Sea during the event. The missiles fired included the DF-21D and the larger DF-26B ballistic missiles. Let's check out the capabilities of these missiles and if they pose any threat to the most advanced nation. The DF-21D is a medium-range ballistic missile that has a maximum range between 600 and 1,900 miles. Originally developed as a strategic weapon, later variants of the DF-21 were designed for both nuclear and conventional missions. It is believed to be capable of carrying a high-explosive submunition or a 300-kiloton nuclear warhead. The DF-21D is reportedly the world's first anti-ship ballistic missile. Additionally, the missile has been adapted into a space-capable anti-satellite and anti-missile weapon carrier. Although the launcher is mobile to reduce vulnerability, an actual launch unit requires support vehicles that occupy a 300 times 300 meter area, making it difficult to move quickly and easier to detect. Furthermore, the wheeled launcher is not designed for off-road travel and needs solid ground for firing to avoid backblast and debris damage, limiting its firing locations to roads and pre-made launch pads. On the other hand, the DF-26B is an improved version of the DF-21 with an extended range of over 5,000 kilometers or over 3,000 miles. Although its existence was officially confirmed by the Chinese government in the mid-2010, it had already been in service for several years. On August 26, 2020, a DF-26C missile was launched from Qinghai province to an area between Hainan and the Paracel Islands. This launch was in response to a US U-2 spy plane entering a no-fly zone during a Chinese live-fire naval drill the previous day. This missile also has a range that is far enough to strike American ships at sea while staying out of range for retaliatory attacks. Should the U.S. come to the aid of Taiwan when China makes good on its promise to invade and absorb the island nation, these ballistic missiles will be crucial. While China might have destructive missiles, the U.S. is a mighty powerful force on the seas, which owns the largest ships on the planet by a wide margin, particularly aircraft carriers. A quarter of the world's aircraft carriers are operated by the U.S. Navy, and their combined deck space exceeds that of all other nations combined by more than double. To counter such a fleet, China might not need to use any carriers of its own. Instead, it could deploy ballistic missiles to target and damage American ships. The DF-21D, often called the carrier killer in Chinese media, is considered less powerful than the DF-26. Both missiles are said to carry warheads capable of reaching hypersonic speeds and maneuvering effectively to bypass air defense systems. However, China's hypersonic weapons are just one of the many threats. Carrier commanders have long been aware of their vulnerability to batteries of anti-ship cruise missiles. When launched in large numbers, these missiles can overwhelm a ship's defenses. Similarly, swarms of inexpensive, long-range suicide drones could easily cripple a carrier group. The Navy's concerns about Chinese anti-ship weapons are historical. On December 10, 1941, just 3 days after Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, the British dispatched a small but formidable fleet of warships toward the Malay Peninsula. This fleet, known as Force Z, included 4 destroyers and 2 massive battleships. HMS Repulse, a veteran of World War I, had received significant upgrades in the 1930s. The lead ship of the group, more modern and advanced, had already earned praise for its critical role in sinking Germany's 50,000-ton battleship Bismarck just 7 months earlier. Despite being aware of the significant impact air power could have on naval warfare, the Royal Navy's leadership underestimated its destructive capacity. Admiral Thomas Phillips, the commander of Force Z, reportedly declined to coordinate with the Royal Air Force for air cover. This mistake became evident when Japanese bombers appeared on the horizon at 11:18 a.m. Today, the USS Gerald R. Ford operates within a carrier strike group, a formidable fleet that includes 10 or more cruisers, destroyers, and frigates, sometimes accompanied by a submarine or 2. At least 2 of these vessels, typically Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyers, are dedicated to air defense. These ships form the first line of defense against enemy attacks, utilizing powerful onboard radars to detect targets over 200 miles away. They are equipped with surface-to-air missiles and the Navy's Phalanx CIWS, or close-in weapon system, which features radar-controlled 20mm 6-barrel Gatling cannons, firing at 4,500 rounds per minute. These cannons are almost identical to those mounted on American fighter jets like the F-16. It's no news that the USS Gerald R. Ford is one of the most powerful aircraft carriers. Yet China's hypersonic missiles, which can travel at speeds over Mach 5, could potentially neutralize this immense power, similar to how air power rendered World War II battleships obsolete. A Congressional Research Service report from August 2022 shows the Navy's concerns regarding the survival of its surface ships against China's large arsenal of UAVs and advanced anti-ship missiles. While Russia also possesses hypersonic technology, China's significant naval expansion and missile development are particularly alarming. China's missiles, including the Mach 10 DF-ZEF, can strike from over 1,500 miles away, making defense incredibly challenging. China's aggressive expansion and claims over the South China Sea create a precarious situation for the region. The presence of the U.S. Navy is crucial for maintaining free shipping lanes, but current aircraft carriers and their fighter jets lack the range to effectively counter China's missile capabilities. The U.S. Navy is racing to develop and deploy high-powered lasers to protect its fleet and maintain dominance in the Pacific. Stopping such missiles and these threats may seem impossible now, but the U.S. must find a solution, and fast. American naval supremacy relies on it. This ushers in the Meteor Project, an ambitious initiative by the U.S. Navy to develop a groundbreaking weapon capable of countering China's maritime threats. This new weapon, a high-power microwave-directed energy weapon, can generate bursts of microwave energy to disrupt or destroy the electronics in a target system. Unlike conventional weapons, lasers offer nearly unlimited firing capacity when powered by a ship's nuclear reactors. Recent tests have shown promise, but a reliable, fully operational high-powered laser defense system is still years away. The Pentagon is prioritizing this technology, shelving other promising defense projects to focus on laser development. The advantages of an HPM weapon are considerable. Unlike laser weapons, an HPM weapon can produce a range of effects, from subtle jamming to complete destruction, depending on the situation. This versatility allows sailors to execute more controlled attacks than traditional kinetic weapons offer. Additionally, the broader beam of some HPM systems enables them to engage multiple targets more quickly, making them especially effective against drone swarms. Once sufficiently powerful, this new weapon could become the Navy's top choice against China's formidable missiles. HPM beams travel at the speed of light, making it nearly impossible for missiles to outrun or evade them. Missiles would be neutralized before they even realized they were targeted. Moreover, HPM weapons offer a significant advantage with their virtually limitless magazine. Unlike traditional kinetic weapons that require physical ammunition, HPM weapons can keep firing as long as they have power. Additionally, their low cost per shot is a game changer in modern warfare. Currently, the U.S. must counter 1,000 drones with million-dollar missiles, a costly imbalance. This issue is exacerbated at sea, where ships have limited defense missile stockpiles and can't be easily resupplied until they return to base, often thousands of miles away. A recent example is the U.S. Navy's confrontation with Houthi forces in the Red Sea. The Houthis have been deploying anti-ship cruise missiles, kamikaze drones, and explosive-laden uncrewed surface and underwater vehicles, forcing U.S. forces to respond with expensive defense missiles. An HPM weapon would significantly alter this dynamic, offering a cost-effective and virtually inexhaustible defense solution. Faced with China's formidable hypersonic missiles and low-cost offensive weapons from other sources, the new HPM weapon could be a game-changer for the U.S. Navy. Not only would it neutralize incoming threats, but it would also conserve kinetic air defense missiles for larger, more critical dangers. This is why the U.S. Navy is heavily invested in developing and deploying an HPM weapon. The Navy has requested over $9 million for the Meteor program in the fiscal year 2025, following a $13.5 million request the previous year when the program was still called RedCat. The reason for the name change remains unknown, but the objective remains the same. Until this goal of an effective directed energy weapon is achieved, the Navy relies on the next best option, ballistic missiles. Often considered the eighth wonder of the world, ballistic missiles are a top choice for major nations, including the United States, which has a substantial arsenal. Among these, the SM-6 stands out for the U.S. Navy. The SM-6, or Standard Missile-6, is a versatile missile capable of anti-air warfare, terminal ballistic missile defense, and anti-ship strikes. It employs a blast fragmentation warhead to engage targets within the atmosphere, making it a jack-of-all-trades, master-of-all weapon. According to Vice Admiral John Hill, head of the U.S. Missile Defense Agency, the SM-6 is currently the only weapon in the U.S. arsenal with the capability to intercept highly maneuverable hypersonic threats. The SM-6 missile boasts several unique features that make it a standout weapon. It combines the solid rocket booster and dual-thrust rocket motors of the SM-3 series, the airframe of the SM-2 series, and the seeker and nose cone of an advanced medium-range air-to-air missile. This hybrid nature sets it apart from other missiles in the Standard Missile family. Notably, it is the only missile in the family to feature an active seeker for terminal guidance, adapted from the advanced medium-range air-to-air missile. This active seeker enables it to engage targets beyond the range of shipboard radars, which are limited by power output in the curvature of the Earth. Its over-the-horizon intercept capability is a key component of the Navy's integrated fire control counter concept. When integrated with other sensors through networks like the Cooperative Engagement capability, an SM-6 can conduct engagements beyond the range of any previous air defense interceptor. This was demonstrated in 2016 when an SM-6 set a record for the longest-range anti-air warfare engagement in U.S. Navy history. Weighing in at 1.6 tons, the SM-6 carries a 140-pound blast fragmentation warhead that detonates using a radar and contact fuse mechanism. It is powered by a two-stage propulsion system, allowing it to reach altitudes greater than 110,000 feet, breaking into space, and speeds up to Mach 3.5, faster than the SR-71, the fastest air-breathing jet in history. The missile is guided by an inertial guidance system combined with terminal active and semi-active radar homing, enabling it to strike targets with precision up to 230 miles away. Given its impressive capabilities, the SM-6 is unlikely to be replaced by the new HPM weapon from the Meteor project. Instead, the two will complement each other. The SM-6 missile and the Meteor HPM weapon, while not perfect, can together form a formidable defensive and offensive suite. This combination would protect the U.S. Navy and its ships from a wide range of threats, regardless of cost, speed, size, or maneuverability. The Pentagon's commitment is evident in the formation of a task force and its acknowledgement of China as the most significant strategic competitor. Despite the challenges, the U.S. Navy is betting on laser technology to protect its ships and ensure future security. Thanks for watching. While you're still here, click on the link on your screen to check out another of our videos. See you there.